Having played the first Knights of Honor a decent bit and seeing how well the game has stood the test of time since 2004, the idea of seeing that type of grand strategy game with current levels of grand strategy development for Knights of Honor 2 was quite exciting. At the time of this review, I have about 10 hours in the game, and I'm just extremely disappointed. Not because it isn't a good game, I am enjoying it. Rather, it shouldn't be called Knights of Honor 2, more like Knights of Honor Remade. It's not a title worthy of being called a successor to me, not in the sense of it being released in the world of 2022 strategy games. There is so much that could have been changed to bring this game up to par, but it's simply stuck in the mid-2000s without a seeming desire to push the game forward in time. I'd love to explain more in detail, and I implore you to listen all the way through, so let's dive in. I'll start with a host of new features that I've noticed so far in my time playing, beginning with the UI or the user interface. Knights of Honor 2 did get a decent facelift in many areas, and information is much easier to read than in the first game. Of course, being natively designed with a 16:9 ratio instead of a 4:3 aspect does help immensely. Most of the information on the main screen is easily readable, and a healthy dose of user experience with hovering tooltips and a help encyclopedia do go a long ways to providing a positive interaction with the game in that regard. And there are other new elements. For instance, your nobles can specialize in ways that weren't possible in the first game and have more roles than before as well, at least by what I remember. This does have a great impact on the game as a whole, as I could have a commander with incredibly buffed archers, or increased speed for troops to flank faster. I could have a cleric sent to fight off heresy, or a merchant who can pull a medieval 2 and successfully remove other merchants to capitalize on a country's resources. And then to have separate levels that enhance each of these traits, it's an expensive process, but it works so well within the game. You also now have to deal with various classes of population within your empire, from peasants to military, nobles, merchants, and the church, which in turn can affect your stability. The opinion of these classes affect you in a myriad of ways, and while I haven't figured out exactly what it takes to appease them, it's a fun system to engage in, and seeing the effects that stability can have in your empire is much different compared to its predecessor. I have really enjoyed the upgrade system to your buildings, allowing you to specialize products in each city as you see fit. Now, I believe it's the exact same mechanic as the first game, but instead of having, say, a barracks building and a swordsmith building, it's now just a barracks with a swordsmith upgrade. There are other mechanics, but these are the ones that had the most impact during my time playing. There are new pieces to this game that are an evolution, you could say, from the previous. However, in that same breath, there are some cracks and inconsistencies within the new. There's still a bit of an aged look to the user interface. Even at the best graphics settings, the user interface feels a bit blurry or pixelated. It lacks a crispness that the campaign map very much has, so it makes things a bit off kilter about the entire thing. There's also a lack of consistent quality across the user interface. The top bar medieval style framing looks a bit blurry. The portraits for your characters look very low resolution, but the unit icons are super clean. So are the building icons. The shield borders around the countries are crystal clear, but I can barely make out the actual flags. It's just strange to me how some elements can be so well designed and others seem so low res, and they're sitting right next to each other on a screen. It just really kind of throws me off. The just mentioned mechanics are quote unquote new to the game, but at best these would have been revolutionary in 2005 to 2008. Every time I noticed something in Knights of Honor 2, I just thought, oh, cool, that's like this game from 2007, or sweet, I understand that mechanic because it seems to be from Total War Attila back in 2015. And not to say that's entirely a bad thing. It's not terribly common to have revolutionary ideas in every single strategy genre game nowadays. But quite literally, every piece of this game has been done times over in other strategy games since 2004, so it didn't offer me a breath of fresh air while I was playing. Everything else outside of what I just talked about is exactly the same, or feels dang near exact. Your economy operates the exact same way. Hiring troops is nearly exact. The limited number of troops per army is exactly the same as the first game. Hell, I can't even zoom out hardly at all to see my empire, which feels just like the original. The way you interact with the game is exactly the same, with the same number of options in diplomacy, which has the depth of a puddle. 2022 strategy games desperately need depth to be competitive in the market and retain players, but Knights of Honor 2 has very little. It worked in 2004. It simply does not in 2022. I would love to see an interaction, something like even a conversation in diplomacy. Right now it's, hey, trade with me, with the only responses being yes, no, or give me something to do it. Let me barter, let me haggle. Give me a bar to indicate a willingness to accept. For goodness sake, give me the ability to even customize how much gold I want to give, instead of these arbitrary sums that no AI is going to want to give up. I would also love to see more ways to interact with my population. Let nobles come to me with a request, or give me events with my peasants or my merchants to reward them for hard work or punish them for the lack thereof. Let me interact with my own family outside of, oh, okay, now my son is 6, let's give him another trait. For instance, in my time playing, and I don't see it changing, I never interacted with my queen once, outside of hearing that she's just given birth to another child, and that's an issue. Moreover, I would love to zoom out and see more of my empire. Right now, I can barely see Sweden proper when I'm max zoomed out around Visby. It causes too much unnecessary scrolling to get across the map, and I should not have to rely on the map filters, which are a 3 keystroke thing to enact, to accomplish scrolling across a map quickly. I felt stuck in the past, and I just wanted something that offered me that fresh breath of strategy gaming I mentioned earlier. It hasn't happened yet, and barring a complete overhaul of several systems, something that I would love to see but I doubt we will get, I don't see that freshness happening at all. Now, everything I've stated thus far can be taken as not so bad for most people, I think. So what if there's not any super new elements in it? I can still enjoy the game, and that is absolutely true. I myself have enjoyed it, just not to the extent that I had hoped. There is one area though that just makes me want to pull a Michael Scott.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And that is warfare. Warfare is just god-awful, and there is no other way to say it. The same original battle systems are in, the same limitations of a handful of units, the same BS systems for morale and the overpowered noble and his ponies, the same BS movements, all of it. The AI, for instance, only goes for your rally points, so you never have to improvise tactics. You just need to sit in front of the point, wait for them to attack, which they always will, and then you counter appropriately. That's it. That's all. It never changed in the 10 hours of gameplay, regardless of the age that I played in. Not to mention that the engine itself runs terribly. I had a battle with 20 units on the field, and it tanked my PC to 20 FPS. That shouldn't happen, especially when the unit models look like they came out of Stronghold 2 way back in 2005. There are no redeemable features with battles, and even the siege mechanic on the campaign side is garbage, and it takes way too long considering the other mechanics that go on inside of the game. I had some hope that things would be good for warfare, but if I never had to play a battle again in Knights of Honor 2, I would gladly take that option every single time. It might appear that I do not love this game. I want this to be very clear. I loved Knights of Honor. It has held up so well since 2004, and I have enjoyed Knights of Honor 2 because it has felt very similar to its predecessor. Here's the deal. If THQ had come out and announced that Knights of Honor was being remastered, remade, whatever you want to technically call it, and they presented this game that I'm playing and showing right here, I'd be thrilled. Because that's what this game is. It's a remake. When 99% of the game looks and operates exactly as the previous, you've got yourself the 2.0 release version of Knights of Honor. Or if this game had come out in, I don't know, like 2007, 2008, it would pass as a successor title quite well. But neither scenario appeared. I'm mostly disappointed that a game released 18 years later as a genuine #2 franchise title could be so stuck in the past that it has no competition to more modern strategy games and doesn't hold a candle in the current grand strategy market. So, you will love Knights of Honor 2 if you are looking for a modernized graphical facelift to the original game. And if that is what you're looking for, I offer a very sincere and genuine congrats. I am very excited for you. However, if you're looking for a Knights of Honor game with modern grand strategy elements, I don't see anything here that will appeal to you. Thank you all very much for supporting this channel and watching my review on Knights of Honor 2. I hope it's been helpful in determining whether you want to purchase the game or if I saved you some dollar bills. You can further support this channel by leaving a comment, as I would love to know your thoughts on the game. You can also like the video and sub to the channel. All of these help the YouTube algorithm say, hey, I should send more people here, so it's very, very appreciated. Be on the lookout for more strategy-minded content on this channel, and as always, this is Havoc, and I'll see you in the next one.